Matvei Michkov made his official Philadelphia Flyers NHL exhibition debut on Sunday at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. But as it turns out, the big story was the Flyers as a whole, who dominated the Washington Capitals, winning 6-2. I'm Charlie O'Connor with your post-game recap. Now, obviously, the focus of a lot of Flyers fans in this game was on one Matvei Michkov, who did make his debut in the Flyers' first preseason game, and he lived up to expectations, had 2 assists, played a strong offensive game, but he certainly was not the only one to put up big numbers. Morgan Frost scored 2 goals. Joel Farabee had 4 points, 1 goal, and 3 assists. Jett Luchanko, 2 assists. He had a strong game. The Flyers, despite the fact that they are coming off of 3 very, very tough days at training camp, the John Tortorella death skate, and then 2 heavy scrimmage days, Flyers looked really good, and they really took it to the Capitals all game long. It's worth remembering that last year's preseason debut, same situation. They had a very busy, very strenuous start to camp under John Tortorella. They lost 6-0 to the Devils. Now, it's fair to say that this Capitals lineup was not very good. It was very AHL and prospect heavy. So the Flyers definitely had the better lineup tonight. But Flyers were dead tired, understandably. They got ran into the ground over those first 3 days, and it didn't matter. They still played really well. And Ian LaPerriere, who was behind the bench for this game, John Tortorella watched it from up in the press box with us. Ian LaPerriere said he was very impressed with the team. He said it shows that they're in really good shape. It shows that even a John Tortorella can't truly slow this team down. If you're looking for a detailed breakdown of the game, go to allphly.com. I will have up my article on the 5 standouts, breaking down 5 players that jumped out to me the most. But do a quick rundown of what I think are the top 3 storylines coming out of this game. Number 1 storyline, obviously, Matvei Michkov and his comfort level. He just looks comfortable out there. He's making really good passes. He looks very much like an NHL player, and not just an NHL player, potentially a really good one. Second storyline, and expect this to get a lot of discussion over the next week, maybe even 2 weeks, depending on how long they keep him. Jett Luchanko, could he make the NHL team? This was his NHL preseason debut, and he still very much looks like he belongs. I think the Flyers, while I still suspect he will ultimately go back to juniors, the Flyers are probably going to be doing some thinking with how well Jett Luchanko looks right now. And then finally, Bobby Brink. I didn't mention him. He might have been the best player on the ice for the Philadelphia Flyers in this one. He scored 2 goals, and they were both highlight reel goals. They look good. Brink came into this camp, probably a lock to make the team, but last year he was scratched a bunch. He was sent down briefly by John Tortorella and the Flyers, so he didn't necessarily have a spot fully locked up. I would say after this performance, there's no concerns that he won't be in the lineup for Game 1. He is having a really good camp and a really good start to preseason. So next up on the Flyers slate, on Monday night, they play in Montreal for their second preseason game. And then on Thursday, it's the home preseason opener. They play the New York Islanders back at the Wells Fargo Center. We will obviously be covering that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
We all silly like the mayor.